Otakuology Podcast with Otaku Mike Engine Graves.
Hey guys, what's up? So we are the Otakuology Podcast, where we cover manga, movies, games, comics, and more of the stuff that we both like here. And I'm Jen, your host, with my co-host, Mike.
Hey, how's it going?
And tonight, we both hope that you enjoy this show just like we hope you do every night.
Oh, yeah, most definitely.
Right. So tonight we are talking about one of my favorite. Would you consider this a classic?
It's a classic to some people. I'll tell you that much.
I'd consider it a classic for me. But we're considering one of my favorite classic movies, The Beverly Hills Ninja.
Oh boy. When did this come out? Do you know when it came out?
Oh, Jesus, no.
It came out in 1997.
That's a long time.
As I have the IMDb pulled up at the moment.
At the ready.
At the ready. It's made in 1997 and stars
Chris
Farley. And this is actually one of his last movies that he's actually filmed. But let's jump in. And before that, if you'd like to contact us, you can contact us on our Instagram, Twitter, or you can email us at otakuologypodcast@gmail.com. All one word. If you email us or you give us a 5-star rating and review on Apple Podcasts, we'll read your email or review on our podcast live. Just thought I'd throw that out there before we get into this plot synopsis. I'm not going to read the whole plot synopsis, but because it's kind of long.
Right.
Actually, I think I'll go to the.
or we can sum it up, whichever you want to do.
Yeah, I'm going to go with this plot summary right here because the plot synopsis is actually pretty long.
Okay.
So let's get this started. Following a shipwreck, a baby is rescued by a clan of ninja warriors and raised by them as one of their own. But Haru, played by Chris Farley, as he is called, never quite fits in, nor does he manage to make a worthy ninja. However, a good-natured and
presumptuous
Haru bumbles his way, and with the help from Gobe, played by Robin Shou, Gobi, whatever you want to call him, manages to prove himself as a winner in the end. That's probably the best way to sum up this freaking movie.
Right.
So since you know this movie in and out, can you elaborate on this plot?
Yeah, basically it's like you said, it's a baby that got rescued from a shipwreck, and you have this white guy that kind of, I would say this is a more comical Iron Fist. That's all I would have to say about that. But you have obviously ninja mostly being like Asian people, and then you have this big white guy that is taking on the mantle of trying to be a ninja, and not really succeeding in any way with all of that.
Yeah.
The
beginning of this movie is actually probably one of my favorite parts of the movie. Is when they show all the montages of him poorly succeeding at trying to become a ninja, and his brother, played by Robin Shou or whatever his name is Gobe is succeeding at it quite easily. And he gets left out of the ninja ceremonies, and he doesn't get to become a ninja. You know?
Right.
But one thing I thought was odd is how was kind of the premise of this movie. More in fact of when he got to a certain point, well, in the beginning, where a woman just shows up and's like, "Hey, are you like a ninja?
Right.
Like, are ninjas like not known in this world, or are they like publicly known that they're just ninjas out there in the year 1997? You know,
Right.
like
I wonder if we
I,
still have ninjas around today.
I was so confused. Like, she was like, "Oh, are you a ninja?" Like,
Right.
you know, I mean, that I feel like that.
Whoa.
I kind of felt like that part needed to be a little bit more explained.
Yeah.
But I mean, I guess you kind of have to um, remove all logic with this movie and just kind of go with it and
Right.
go with it that there are ninjas in
So
1997.
there's a part that I want to bring up right here, and I don't know if you caught it
Uh huh.
as many times as you watched it between when
I
we
watched
talked
it
about
three
that and
times within
stuff.
the span of 2 days.
So so when he's sitting here and he's talking to her, he's trying to impress her,
Uh huh.
and we have the whole part where he's like, turn around and count to 9, and he jumps through the
Yeah.
thing and he runs around the dojo or whatever and pops out the other side. He goes, here
Yeah.
I am. So then he walks up to the scroll to say, this is my legend right here, of the great white ninja.
Mm-hmm.
And he's starting to enroll it, and the first one he comes to, he goes, oh, this is the sensei and the 2 geishas. And I was sitting there thinking about it for a moment. I went, that's gotta be a porno.
Yeah, I think it was like, because he's like, they were 18. It was pretty scandalous or whatever. But do you want
Yeah.
to tell?
And then he
Do
said
you?
it makes a good like nighttime story or something. I was like,
Yeah.
oh shit.
But do you want to tell our listeners why exactly who this woman is, and why she actually is trying to hire some ninjas?
So I forgot, what's her fake name?
I don't remember what her fake name is. Her real name's like Allison Page.
Right. Well, so she gives him a fake name, and she wants him to go basically investigate her boyfriend or whatever. She thinks that he's cheating on her, all this other stuff. And Haru,
Yeah, Haru,
being
Chris Farley.
the gullible person that he is, actually left and tried to go find all this stuff out, and then basically gets blamed for a murder
Yeah,
of this stuff, when the guy is actually trying to counterfeit money but only has the front part of the plates.
yeah, because like another gang or organized crime unit has the other half.
Right, in America.
Yeah. So he goes to the hills of Beverly, and he is trying to find
Which
the
before that,
girl.
before he makes the idea for that, and he
Yeah.
talks to his master,
Yeah.
I think that was one of my favorite parts as a kid growing up, is where he talks to the master guy and he goes, Haru, are you sure you're not thinking with your short sword?
Oh,
And then he
yeah.
looks down and you're like, I
He's
get
like,
it. I get it. That was comical right there.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, and so yeah, it's kind of like a whole like misadventure of him being a fish out of water and whatnot, and him trying to help this girl, or this woman, I should say. She's not a girl. This woman. The I forgot that she. I thought she was a bad guy when I rewatched this
Yeah.
in some way, but it turns out she's just a normal person, and she's trying to take down her boyfriend because he killed her sister, I believe.
Yeah. He killed her sister like the previous year or so.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah. But yeah, mostly it centers around them trying to bring down this guy. I don't even remember what his name was in the movie. That's like he does so little for the plot. Like he's not in the movie like that much.
Right.
for a bad guy,
Right.
he's not in the movie that much.
And I think he's got a weird name that's not very memorable either.
Yeah, I don't remember what his name is whatsoever. Because there's so many. I don't think there's so many moving pieces, but you're kind of fixated on Haru
Right.
for like the majority of this movie.
Right.
You know.
So we have where he gets to America, and the only thing he has to go on is the little matchbook that Allison had given him when they were in Japan. And Master had given him a little bag of gold, and he walks into this really swanky thing, and the people think that he's basically like a country bumpkin.
Yeah,
and he starts pouring.
They make some racist like Japanese jokes at him.
Yeah, and he starts dumping out part of this bag of gold on the desk, and they're quickly like, "Oh yes, sir, we'll do that for you. We can get that done." So, and then that's where we meet Joey, which Joey is somebody that I feel like a lot of the younger people know more because it's Chris Rock.
I mean, a lot of people know who Chris Rock is.
Right. I mean, especially after Everybody Hates Chris came out.
I don't know if like younger people know who Chris Rock is, but I would say if you're in your mid-20s, 30s, 40s, you know who Chris Rock is.
Right. Well, I mean, there's a lot of people out there that are low 20s, okay?
Well, I mean, like, there are people out there who don't even know what CD players are.
The worst part, there's probably some people out there that are like, Chris Farley, who's that?
I know, most definitely. Yeah.
So,
I mean, this whole movie is about like counterfeiting and trying to stop counterfeiters.
Right. And it's really funny because while we're going through this and everything, there's a lot of stuff that is kind of seeing as believing. And if we weren't the third party audience watching this movie and it was really from Haru's point of view, it would be a lot worse of a movie, I would have to say, because the funny part is Gobe is always there saving Haru's ass.
That's actually a running joke throughout the movie.
And he never knows that until like the end, that he's always there, basically been helping him the whole time, and just doesn't know anything about that.
Yeah. But let's take a quick break because I have to get myself a glass of water. But stay tuned and we'll give you our thoughts exactly on this entire movie. I hope we sum this movie up quite a bit for you. I don't know. We'll see how it goes,
Right.
All right. So we are back. Welcome back to the Otakuology Podcast. I'm Mike.
What up?
Here with my partner, Jin. And we were talking about the Beverly Hills Ninja. Kung Fu action classic. Now let's get into the nitty gritty. What did you think of this movie?
Oh man,
well
I've loved this movie forever.
Let me rephrase this. What did you think of it back then versus now?
Honestly, I have to say back then, I feel like it was probably better back then. But maybe that was because my eyes are kind of glazed over with all the stuff of, of not having reality or whatever.
So I remember this movie when I was a child.
Me too.
Chris Farley was big in the 90s. Like he was he was on SNL, he was in Tommy Boy, Black Sheep. He was a big comedian. Did you know that he hated this movie when he watched this movie? He hated this movie.
No, I didn't know that.
He was ashamed of this movie.
No, I didn't.
He watched like a first cut of this movie and he was like, "This movie's terrible," and he
That's
refused.
horrible.
He refused to do another movie like it.
Oh, that's horrible. Because this is
Yeah,
such a good movie.
and it was one of his last movies. There's another movie he did with Matthew Perry. I don't remember what it was called. But I think this was like
Well, this is one of like his last big roles.
it was his first starring role as like a main, like as an actor who he basically held the role on his shoulders. Like he had to carry this film without anybody else really.
Right.
He was the main driving force. You know, like his other movies, he had like David Spade with him. You know, but
Right.
this movie he had to like go on his own.
Yeah, because the last movie I remember him doing was he played a small role in Billy Madison with Adam Sandler.
Yeah, that was one of his first movies, I believe. Yeah,
Okay.
aside from cameos, he wasn't in that many movies.
Right.
Yeah, but so you enjoyed this movie?
Yes, this is actually one of the movies that because Chris Farley is like in my top 5 actors that I just really enjoy.
Oh no, like most definitely. Like, Chris Farley is a very good actor. He does comedy like he's one of the best. He's one of the best for a reason, you know. And this movie shows off his comedic talents, but I don't feel like it's a well-written movie.
I concur. I feel like this is a great written movie.
I don't feel like the story itself holds up.
Oh, from then to now?
Well, I mean, like, I think Chris Farley is very good in it. Chris Farley and Robin Shou are really good in the movie. When they are together, they are really good. And when they are apart, because they are technically still both playing off of each other, even though you can't see, they can't see each other. They're like, Gobe is reacting off of Haru, you know, and saving him. He's literally the second main character in this movie, you could say, because he's always helping Haru get out of trouble.
Right.
And that's one of the things that I actually really do enjoy, because I actually like Robin Shou as an actor. I think he's a really underrated actor, and he doesn't necessarily get his props when it comes to acting or when it comes to like comedy, because he's mostly known as like a action movie, like kung fu movies.
Yeah.
And I thought he was really fucking good in this movie. Like, there are times where like I just like busted out laughing, where it was him reacting to something. Like, there's a particular scene where they're in like it's like a Benihana's type of place where they have has to, where Haru goes undercover, and he goes undercover as like
a big Italian chef.
Yeah, he looks like he's like like it's supposed to be like a Japanese like chef, but they have like the big grill or whatever in front. And he's like flipping all the stuff around and whatnot, and they kept peering off to this woman sitting off to the side of this table. And like, why do they keep focusing on this Asian woman? And I'm like, oh, that's his brother.
Yeah, that's him undercover.
It's him undercover. He's dressed as a woman, and he's like, he has to fight in drag in heels in this what, Chinese restaurant, whatever you want to call it, you know?
Yeah, I mean, we could just call it a Benihana's.
Yeah, Benihana's, you know, and I don't know, it just worked so well in my opinion. Like, the comedic elements worked with the martial arts in this.
Right.
I thought they were like they're very well done. Chris Farley does his best. I
Right. Which I
he
mean,
does.
this is also one of my other favorite scenes that's in this because he keeps looking over at the other uh guy doing all the tricks and stuff,
Yeah,
and then he starts trying to do them, and you're like, you're not doing anything. What the hell?
yeah. And he
And then
like he whips out some fish out of nowhere too.
yeah, and then he accidentally throws that shrimp down the lady's shirt, and he's like, "Oh,
Yeah,
hold on, let me get it."
yeah.
Yeah, and then
He starts to like sniff it at one point.
yeah, and he goes, "Oh."
Oh,
Yeah, and then he pulls out the two giant tuna and starts using them like a pair of nunchucks.
yeah. That was actually pretty funny. Watching it back, I could see like I don't know if they were real fish or they were like fake, but you could see like bits and pieces of them like
I think they were real,
they were like flying off as he was like using the fish.
which I think that was probably one of the scenes. Like, even though I still enjoyed it, I
Hmm.
felt like the adult in me kind of was a little disappointed that I couldn't have like the surrealness of it before. Because I was like sitting there and I was like, they don't put fish that big on those carts anymore.
No,
Like they don't do that, They bring out precise portions and stuff, and I was
yeah,
like, how the fuck did that tuna get there?
no. Like no,
So
more
I
importantly, how
sat
did
there. I sat there trying to think how those tuna got there, like for half the movie.
yeah, like how where did he pull them out of?
He pulled them off of a cart.
Did he? Okay,
Yeah. And that's where I was like, why is there this random cart with fish sitting on it?
I mean, yeah, like there were some like things where you start to question, and like there's a part early on where he's going through the airport. It was the airport. Yeah, that's what it was. And he goes up to the metal detector.
Oh, and he pulls all the weapons
He
out.
pulls all the weapons out, and
Love that scene too.
I'm like, how did he not get arrested?
Right?
Like how did they why did they give them back to him? Because
Right?
he has them later on.
Right? Because I feel like there's a ninja card, like a ninja visa that like lets you get away with that shit.
I mean, he got away with a lot of stuff in this movie.
He did. I also thought it was funny every time we went to the hotel, you see him in a different pair of shoes.
Oh
And
yeah,
then
the running joke.
yeah, and then the cleaner keeps picking them up or whatever.
Yeah.
And he keeps looking around the door. Where the hell are my shoes at?
Yeah, later on, he's like, "Where the hell are my shoes going? Like, what's going on with my shoes?" Because he doesn't understand. Like, there were parts of this movie where I was like, he acted like he knew the world or like the world around him, but then
Yeah.
there were times where he was like, seemed very like fish out of water or didn't know anything about like current society.
Right.
Because like he didn't know about the airport and stuff like that, and he didn't know about Beverly Hills or and but he knows how to drive a car.
Right.
Like there were just some things that weren't explained and kind of almost took me out of the movie a little bit when I would think about it, like in today's, like in my mindset today, or like, well,
Yeah.
how would he not know how to drive? How would he not know what money is? Because there's one point where you talked about it where he like pulls out a bag of gold
Yeah.
and he just puts it on the counter. There's actually a goof in that scene, or a mishap where there's only like 6 pieces of gold when he pours them out.
Yeah.
And then you see the perspective behind him, and it's like 14 pieces of gold.
That's funny.
Yeah, there's a bunch
I
of
don't think I caught that.
yeah, there's a bunch of other goofs. Like there's another one I caught when he was climbing up to get into the mansion. When he
With
had
the
his
dog?
with his grappling hook.
Yeah.
So with his grappling hook, you can see the harness that's attached to his costume. when he's climbing up the side of the building,
Oh yeah,
like his safety harness.
I guess I never noticed that one either.
Yeah, it's pretty funny.
Yeah, I noticed the goof with the dog where the dog was
Yeah,
sitting there, and the dog's just sitting there, and you hear him start growling, and the dog's just sitting there like nothing's moving, the lips
yeah,
aren't moving or
yeah,
anything, and I was like, how is that dog growling? He's not doing anything.
yeah. There's another one. There's one later on in the strip club when they end up going to the strip club where he has his shirt off and he has like an undershirt on and he rips it
Yeah,
and they throw him out of they throw Haru out of the strip club, and when it cuts back you see him like up and he has his shirt that he wore into the strip club and he puts it on, but he didn't have it when he was coming out. Gobe had it because he threw it on Gobe's head.
right.
Yeah, and there's another one. There's another one that's actually pretty blatant, and I don't know how they or why
Which the strip
well,
club scene is a good one too.
oh yeah, the
'Cause
strip club seems
that's
really
definitely
fucking funny.
that's definitely like where he's sitting there, and so context people. So he's sitting there, and this girl is dancing in front of him, wearing a bikini with hearts on it and stuff.
Yeah, he like stumbles onto the stage or something like that.
Yeah, and which is so this is a weird move because I've only ever seen this movie, but she grabbed the top of the straps of her bra and kind of like shakes it up and down so it makes her boobs jiggle a little bit.
Yeah,
And I've only ever seen that in this movie. But you have Haru sitting there and he goes, I must be one with nature and all this other stuff. And he's trying to like focus on not that. And then you finally hear him, like she starts doing that and she turns around and starts shaking her butt, which I might add, this I feel like is like the first twerk that we've ever seen in a thing. Cause I sat there and go, that's twerking.
oh yeah, I
Uh,
did the same thing.
she starts shaking her ass or whatever. And he goes, I am not with the force anymore.
Yeah, that whole scene was really funny. Because he starts like dancing around and like just having fun or whatever.
Right. And they play I'm too sexy for my shirt.
Yeah, they do. But later on, another one of the goofs that I caught was you see Haru up on like some kind of scaffolding or something, and he does like a front flip.
Yeah.
And they pan to like where you see Haru upwards, like an angle where it's like you're looking up, and it's clearly like a guy who's not Chris Farley, and he's not even like heavy set.
Yeah.
He's like thin, like doing like a front flip.
Yeah.
And I'm like, how did they? What? Why didn't Chris Farley just try to do a front flip?
Just be like, surprise.
We saw him do like a back roll like early in the movie. Like what But he did get hurt on this movie at one point. At one point, he got hurt. He went through a wall. I think it was, and he hit a stud, and it didn't break.
Oh
So
man.
he actually injured himself in this movie.
Yeah.
At one point, but yeah, I mean,
I could see that. Yeah.
As much as I do enjoy Chris Farley and I do enjoy his his jokes and stuff in this movie, like I think Chris Farley is good in this movie. I just don't think the movie holds up.
Which
the movie's
what was
not
what
that
was
good.
the bank teller guy?
Oh, I don't remember what his name is.
I know he's another SNL guy that you see in a lot of stuff now.
He's from Mad TV.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he's from Mad TV. I don't remember what his name is.
Because I know you see him in like a lot of different stuff too.
Yeah, I know who you're talking about, but he was on Mad TV.
Which, can we talk about that part real quick? So
Okay.
I think it's really funny after they catch that guy and they do the whole mushroom part.
Oh yeah,
And basically it's laughing mushrooms, and the guy like has it in his mouth and sneezes at the same time.
yeah.
And blows it all over the people. And Haru and Allison are starting to like kind of sit there and roll around, and you're like, oh man, this is like borderline sex scene right here. And he goes, oh, I'm so sorry. And then he basically starts telling her like, I just wanted to get beside the temple but not go in.
Oh yeah.
I wanted to touch it. Okay, maybe
Yeah.
I wanted to smell it. And then you have to sit there and start thinking about, because when I was younger, I thought the temple was like just her body. And then I'm sitting
No,
here listening to this, and
he's talking about vagina.
I'm sitting here like, what the hell?
He's like, he wants to put his short sword in her temple.
Are you serious?
Yeah, he
Well, then at
was.
one point he goes, I just wanted to look at the jewel inside, and I was like, the hell?
He wants to look at the clitoris.
Yeah, I was like, how are you gonna look at the jewel inside? It just like it was like a big, oh my god, how'd you get away with that?
It's funny because this is a PG-13 movie.
Exactly.
I mean, there is like crude humor in it, but it's not like anything like really sexual.
No, it's not.
But I mean, I guess back then with those standards, it was okay. Kind of like
yeah,
how
I
like
mean, I feel like it would have knocked it up to at least like a TV 16 or whatever.
let me ask you.
Especially where they mention the whole part where he's talking to Joe and he says, "Oh, you have to catch the chicken, you have to break his neck." And I was like,
Yeah,
"Can you say that nowadays? Can you say
yeah.
that in front of kids
I don't
nowadays
know.
for it being 13?"
I mean, I don't know. I mean, I feel like kids are a little bit more sensitive now. But I mean,
That's true.
I don't know. I mean, who knows? I mean, there are people out there that want to cancel Friends because of what they've said, and they were around the same time as this movie. So,
That's true too.
uh,
What
but
was your question?
yeah, do you think Chris Farley would have staying power if he was still alive today? Like, do you think we would still be getting the typical Chris Farley movie?
Um, Probably not. I feel like there would probably be that divide on, is he going to be a side supporting character?
Like, would he be like Adam Sandler now?
Oh, definitely not. I couldn't see that happening. I
Because
feel
Adam
like
Sandler has ups and downs with his movie career.
that's true too. I mean, it's the same with Robin Williams, but you have to look at kind of who those comedy people are, and do they hold themselves on their own, or are they better in supporting roles?
I think though Chris Farley does hold himself on his own. It's just this wasn't a well written movie.
Well, I mean, just like you said earlier about how he always has somebody to play off of,
Yeah,
in that he kind of needs somebody,
yeah,
you know. Um, so that would be my only argument for it, would be that he would need kind of a straight man to
yeah,
go forward and have some of that stuff.
yeah. But I mean, do you think he would like have any um like serious roles?
Like real bangers. Is he going to pull a Jim Carrey on us and go completely serious without any comedy?
Yeah,
Uh, no, I couldn't see that. I feel like it would still be comedy-ish movies, and that's why he may be in a supporting role,
yeah,
as a side comedy character, like he was in Billy Madison. But
hmm
I don't really see him taking the spotlight, um, in an action movie or anything else, and do anything like that. Now, he might take the lead role in like a comedy, but he's going to have other people, virtually around him to make sure that everything is set off just right for that role.
I mean, like every time I look at or see Chris Farley, I look at like almost like what we like lost. Like, you know, like
Right.
he was so good at his craft. The craft of being funny, the pratfalls of comedy, him being able to do physical comedy really well.
Right.
Like, it's hard to do physical comedy. And he did it. He did it perfectly, and it's sad to see, one of his last movies to not be that great, in my opinion. You know,
Yeah. I mean, I
that's
still
just me.
thought it was amazing. So
Like, I don't have a problem like watching it, but it's not like
yeah.
I laughed at a couple jokes, but I didn't find myself being as entertained as, say, I was back in 97.
I don't know. I mean, I had different stuff that I felt like maybe I lost some of the humor in parts of it, but it picked it up in other parts.
Hmm.
Um, for me at least.
So, if you had to give this like a score, how many ninjas out of 5 would you give it?
Oh man, I'd give it 4.5 ninjas.
4.5.
Yeah.
I would put it smack
Our
dab probably in the middle at like a 3.
our last ninja uh had somebody had somebody throw a katana at him or something and got him in half.
I would put it at probably like a 3. Like, it's just an average movie for me, honestly. And that's sad to say,
Right.
But yeah,
Well, we'll have to continue down this rabbit hole and watch some of his other movies and maybe
well, he's
incorporate
only got
some
like
of these other
3 other
ones.
movies,
Right.
I think.
Right, where he's a big role in it.
Yeah, I think he's only got like 3 other movies. I think it's let me look at this and see, just to make sure. Hopefully my computer does not freeze up on me while I'm looking
Right.
this up. Any more little tidbits before we go about the movie?
Yes. If you're in a warehouse and you're trying to fuse a bomb or anything else like that, make sure you look in every crate and underneath every tarp because there might be something there to help you get out of the situation you're in. Like the freaking harpoon gun.
Oh yeah. So yeah, he's in a couple movies. So he was in Wayne's World, Coneheads, Wayne's World 2. I think those were his big roles.
He was only supporting in those, right? Though.
Supporting, yeah. His main roles were Tommy Boy and Black Sheep, and then Beverly Hills Ninja, I believe.
Right.
Yeah. But yeah. Thanks for listening. I hope you guys enjoyed the podcast. Jen Graves, where can people contact us at?
Oh man, they can contact us everywhere that has an internet provider.
Where's
So
that?
so I'm on Instagram and here basically.
Did you forget your Instagram handle?
Yes.
Just type in like Jen Graves. You'll probably find him.
Right. Yeah. Cuz I was like, "Wait. Hold on." Or you can find me under Jen's Infinite Library on Instagram as well. That's about it. I don't really have anything anywhere else. And of course, you can find Mike basically everywhere.
Yeah, except for Twitter. Not on Twitter. Except for our podcast page is on Twitter at Otakuology. You can find us on Instagram at Otakuology, or you can email us at Otakuology Podcast, all one word.
Right? Just don't type us in Google, because then you might find our OnlyFans pages.
Yeah, you might find our OnlyFans pages too. Jen, what are we talking about next week? Do we have anything set up for next week or not?
Who knows? People will just have to stay tuned to
I
find out. You know,
take that as we don't have nothing set up for next week.
who knows? They'll just have to stay tuned.
By your answer, I feel like nothing is set up for next week.
We'll just have to make sure that they come back for more.
Come back for more.
I can tell you one thing. Next week's show is going to be a banger as well. So
but you don't even know what we're talking about.
Doesn't matter. I'll be there.
Alrighty then. Well, when will they see us next?
Next time they'll probably hear us on Tuesday. Because as we like to say at the end of our shows, see you next Tuesday.
All right. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. We'll see you next Tuesday.